Welcome to the Tuning In podcast, where we talk alignment, intuition, and our internal guidance system. We cover woo-woo topics in an approachable and practical way. I'm your host, Dana Evans of Alignful.com. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Tuning In podcast. This is episode 106, and today I'm sharing with you a simple message, kind of, that I received from my inner voice this morning. So it's interesting to think about just the polarity that life can bring us. And I'll just say that on Sunday, I honestly was just all over the place, kind of a mess. I was feeling extremely overwhelmed with all the things I had to do, which were in contrast with this desire for this month to be a month to slow down and recharge and rejuvenate and have space and time to reflect and not be coaching and just really restoring myself so that I can better serve my clients come January and really just tune back into myself and enjoy life. So things got somehow, the word I keep using is my schedule this week is just feeling very congested. And some of that's rollover from last week. Some of it is just a bit of overscheduling that I did on my own. You know what happens sometimes when we have space, we fill it. And so I had a big wide open schedule and I managed to accidentally fill it. And then it was just regular Sunday things like grocery shopping, cleaning out the fridge, planning for meals, prepping the food, doing the laundry, washing the sheets, making the bed, picking up the house. It's just Sunday things, which I actually enjoy unless I feel like they're in conflict with other things that I have to do. And so yesterday I was up, down, left, right, all around, spinning, spritzing, spiraling. It was pretty funny. And in turn, I didn't sleep that great. So this morning I woke up and I'm man, rough. Just feel rough. So I decided to sit down and journal. And the journaling was very much a lot of mind-based complaining. And then what I usually do when I journal is I just get everything out that the mind needs to say. And then when I feel like I hit a good stopping point, I say, inner voice, how do you see this? And then I write as my inner voice and kind of let whatever comes through come through. And so I thought what came through this morning was really lovely. And then I acted on it, which I'll share with you after I read what my inner voice said. I'll share with you how I followed up on that message. And it totally changed the trajectory of my day. 100%. And even how I see my week, it's unbelievable. It's nothing unheard of. It's not some profound message. It's a beautiful message, but it's also just the way it landed, the way it felt, the way I received it, and the timing that made it so impactful. And that's really often the case with your inner voice. And, a big part of the message is slowing things down a little bit. And I just want to point out, and my inner voice shares this too, is slowing down doesn't mean you stop doing things, but it just is a shift in the energy behind the doing as well. And I think that's really important for us to remember. It's something, in fact, that we'll be talking about and experiencing in the Release and Return to Self workshop, which is this Sunday, December 19th. You can absolutely register. The link is in the show notes or in my Instagram bio at Dana_Evans, or you can just shoot me an email to hello@alignful.com and I can get you into the workshop if you want to, because we were going to be experiencing more than even talking about it. We're going to be experiencing the feeling of slowing down and tuning in. And that's something that is really easy to lose sight of. Yesterday, that's what I felt. I felt like yesterday, it's everything just had to happen yesterday. And I was frustrated and annoyed and tired, and I felt like I couldn't rest because the house was a mess and it felt like unsettled to try to slow down. Even like I was making French onion soup. Oh my gosh, it was so good. But it was a labor of love for such a simple dish. It took a lot of energy. And so I turned on a movie finally in the afternoon while the soup was cooking, but I literally had to get up every 7 minutes to stir it. So it was like you would let the onions start to caramelize on medium heat for 7 minutes without touching them. And then you go, when the timer goes off, then you pour in some wine, then you stir it, then you set the timer for another 7 minutes, and then you wait, then you stir it, then you add the wine, 7 minutes. I mean, and this went through the entire movie. And I was like, God, this is annoying. And also a choice. Obviously, I wanted to make the soup that way. And so even something like watching a movie and making a slow cooked meal ended up feeling like it just was taking from me. And I was very agitated about that. So I experienced that too, right? This inability to slow down. And then this morning, as the mind was writing and journaling, it was like, and I have to do this, and I have to do this, and I have to do this. And that's because of this is happening on Sunday is my workshop, and Friday is the pickup for all of my donation stuff. And then I'm doing this work for this person. And it was like all of a sudden, I'm like, I got to record my podcast, and I have to do this thing, and I have to do this for my taxes. And it was like a just total brain dump of like all the things splattered everywhere. And it felt splattered and scattered. And that's how I started the morning. And it just, not good. But then I wrote to my inner voice, and it literally changed my day. And so I want to share what my inner voice said. I'm going to read it to you. It's an abbreviated version, but I am going to read most of what it said because it feels very applicable to the workshop that I'm hosting, Release and Return to Self, on Sunday, and also just what I keep hearing about the energy of December. It's like slowing down, winding down, buttoning things up, preparing to ignite come January, right? To have some new things. And that's the different energy than what I'm seeing. I feel like what I was experiencing on Sunday is more of what people are experiencing this year. It's like people are launching and they're like doing this and that and taking on this and taking on that and starting this new project. And it almost feels a little bit frantic in the energy. Like it's like an igniting energy versus a closing out, winding down, buttoning up. Integrating the lessons from all of this year is also something that I've heard. And I'm personally, oh my God, am I experiencing being faced head on with so much of what I've needed to learn this year that's like repeating itself and like slapping me in the face. Like, have you learned this lesson? Are you integrating it? And that takes more space, right? It's like it's hard to integrate a lesson when you're blasting off 17 emails and launching a new project and doing all these things. So the workshop is inspired to give you a space to just step back, slow down, breathe, release, and receive what you're being called to do for this month, like what's being asked of you. And so that's really came through further in this message from my inner voice. So here's what my inner voice said. It said, we see it, because I was talking about the congestion of my schedule and like, I just have too much to do and I don't have enough time or energy to do it. And then I said, inner voice, how do you see this? And it said, we see it as breath that is being held, sticking in your system, not moving or cleansing or flowing. There is a stuckness within you right now. And it's not bad, no, but it's asking you to be more slow. We know this is not what you want to hear, but this is so. Breathe more, sit more, and not watching all of these silly shows that you don't even enjoy. Those drain your energy too. You think they are a way to relax, but they are draining. We celebrate the ones you enjoy, but the others, no, not now. They are not giving you what you need. What is better, you ask? A bath, of course. A walk. Lying down on your bed, watching the fire, a candle, writing indeed. More slowness, less digital things, for they speed you up. What slows you down is the physical. Movement brings you to your body. Sorting through drawers and things focuses your heart and energy. See things, be with them, thank them, release them, receive them. We promise this won't take your energy. Rather, it will soothe your energy. It's not a matter of more doing, more energy, more time. You feel doing more and not having more energy is the problem. We see it simply as a need to slow. The things will get done and the people will come, but not when you are doing more, but when you are being and experiencing life in the 3D, not the digital. Your plants, the outside, the birds, the fire, water, your cat, your humans. Come back to yourself. And yes, the books too, the physical books, all the books that are slowing your mind and bringing you to your body. We say yes, do your focus work to help your mind, but enjoy the slowness, the breath, the being. We've shared this before, and we see the challenge for the mind. It feels like it is losing something by doing these slow things. It feels like it's too much to make a bath, to go on a walk, to empty a drawer, to write to us. But that is exactly what will bring you back to stillness, trust, knowing, ease, which is indeed what the mind desires. So please, take our hand, allow this discomfort and play with us. Try it out, explore. This will free you more than you know. Just like you listened last week, we are happy for this. You are not losing anything. It is time to be experiencing, to be delighted, to be enjoyed. You don't need to finish in order for something to be worth it. And this is a lesson much bigger in life. Let it settle. Let yourself feel and breathe and receive this. Live with us day to day, be with us, and see the shifts in everything. The letting go will be slow, but trust that you will know what you are being called to and what your mind wants merely out of habit and ease. The true ease comes by experiencing what we are here to show you. So come with us, be with us, allow us to guide you. We love you. Thank you. Good day. So that is the message I received. And as I was writing and experiencing it, like I was yawning, I was stretching, I was opening my throat and my neck. Like it was a very physical embodiment of this experience. And afterward, when you're in that energy, you're even more able to receive. So what became clear to me is like working with the physical things. And one of the things that has been on my list is to clean things out and do some organizing. But my mind is like, oh, well, no, we have all these other things to do. We don't have time. And like, I haven't been doing as many walks and moving my body as much. And I've been kind of dilly-dallying on my phone and looking for a new Kindle book instead of operating in my 3D world, reading my physical books. So right after I wrote that, I got this nudge to go and grab a magazine that I got in September. It's Harper's Bazaar, and it's the one with Beyonce on the cover. And it was so interesting because I bought that to read her article, but I never read it. This was early in the morning that I wrote. I had the fire going, and I had my little moon light on. And so I opened the magazine and just sat and I read. Oh my gosh, it was such an inspiring article. And I just loved hearing Beyonce speak about, her life. She was turning 40 and she was reflecting on her life. And it just really inspired me. And one of the things that I read that she was writing at the end was she said, I'm learning to break the cycle of poor health and neglect, focusing my energy on my body and taking note of the subtle signs that it gives me. Your body tells you everything you need to know, but I've had to learn to listen. And I was like, heck yeah, Beyonce. That is what I help people do. That is what I'm doing in this workshop. And it was just so inspiring to hear her talk about, right, listening to the subtle cues of her body. as my inner voice had just told me about that again, and as I was following that in the moment. So after I read the article, I just felt so contented. It was so radically different from how I felt when I woke up and from the day before. And then I was like, one thing I know I love that I always put aside is going on a morning walk by myself. I very often do walks with John during the day, but I really enjoy the peace of an early morning walk alone. And so I put on it was very cold out. I put on my hat and my sweats and my jacket, and I bundled up and went outside and did a nice brisk walk. And oh my gosh, that felt so good. And I got home from the walk, I made my matcha and did some Instagram stories promoting my workshop. And then I was like, oh my gosh, now I can do my focus work. And so I went into my office and sat down, and I knocked out all of these freaking things that were stressing me out yesterday that I was like, they're going to take forever. I knocked them out in like 90 minutes, and I just went dung, 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 did these things. And of course, there's still more to do. This podcast was on that list. But I knocked those things out, and then my dad arrived, and he came, and it's so funny because when I talked to him yesterday, he's like, I need to come by to have you sign this form. And I was like, okay. I said, but Dad, I'm really busy. Like, I don't really have much time to hang out. Like, my schedule's really full this week, and I need tomorrow to like get things done. But, I'll fill out the form. He's like, okay. He's like, I have to go to the plant shop by you to pick up my birds of paradise that they rehabbed. And I was like, all right, well, I might be able to join. But now, right, after receiving that message from my inner voice and following these nudges, getting this focus work done, my dad arrived, and I was like, perfect. I can take a break in the middle of the day, spend quality time with my humans, right, as my inner voice said, quality time with my dad, and plants. Like, what a gift. So we hung out. I showed him my office and what I've been up to because he's been helping me with these projects. And then we went to my favorite plant shop, which is such a beautiful plant shop just right by my house. And it was like 80 degrees in there and humid. And it just felt so good and so much oxygen and just dense, dense, dense with plants. It's unbelievable what they do. And the owner is so amazing. So I picked out 4 plants, some more plants, 2 of them, possibly 3 for my office because I want some more plants in this space. And then a new ficus, an Audrey ficus, which is so beautiful, that's going to live in my bedroom, and a couple hanging plants. We were just having so much fun exploring the plants and chatting, and it just was so rejuvenating. And then I came home, had some lunch, and here I am recording the podcast. And it's just amazing that all the things that need to get done are still getting done, but not with the stress and franticness and even like frustration and distaste, right? That's what I felt yesterday. I was mad at the things that had to get done because I didn't feel like I had the time and energy to complete them. But today, after writing with my inner voice, right, it wasn't as simple as just getting a full night's sleep. Sometimes that gives me a nice reset and I feel better, but that was not the case today. I woke up feeling as I had yesterday. So it was the energy of writing to my inner voice that changed everything. And it changed the way I work. It changed the way life flowed. And it also changed how I prioritized myself, right? Like, if you ever have a ton to do, like, you might think, oh, I should just get up early and do the things first. And I thought that when I woke up this morning. But instead, I was guided to sit and journal, sit with Mia, just staring at the fire. I watched the sunrise, just beautiful sunrise this morning. I read a magazine article. I went on a walk. Then I came home and flowed through work. Then I spent time with my dad, right? Then I came home and then I was like, oh, here's a great podcast idea. Let me read what I wrote to my inner voice. Like that just, I had no idea this morning what I would record for the podcast. And so it's just another example of what may happen if you're willing to tune in and experience what is to be shared with your inner voice. And sometimes it requires us to slow down. And I don't even want to say slow down to speed up. Like, in a way that is the result, but we're not slowing down to speed up, right? We're slowing down so we can experience the preciousness of life, the 3D world, so we can be present with what is. And I mean, that in itself has a huge return on investment for our stability, our mental state, our ease, our delight in life. And then it did allow me to get the things done that yesterday felt impossible and today felt so much more effortless. So that's really what I wanted to share. And I still have some more work to do. It's 2:00 and that's okay. I feel differently about it than I did yesterday. And it just feels good to remember that even when we feel so busy and we're stuck in the cycle of doing more and needing more time and more energy, we can come back to the slowness, the presence, moving through honey and experiencing it all versus resenting it. And that for me was a really huge shift today. I know the energy that I put into my creations today, right? That's going to have a direct effect on the result of the creation. So I know when I'm more aligned, when I'm feeling good about the work that I'm doing, that energy gets translated into that work. And I think that's very, very, very important. So I'll leave you with that. Just a little micro lesson from me today and something that you can experience on your own any day. And also, if you choose to join us in the Release and Return to Self workshop, you'll have active practice in doing this. It's a very integrated experience. It's not going to be me teaching so much as you living and embodying that, because it is a gift, a precious gift to allow for 2 hours of space with yourself. And I really want you to be able to release what's blocking you so you can connect to your inner voice and receive your own divine guidance. So with that, I would love to have you at the workshop if it feels aligned. If you know someone who you think would benefit from either this podcast or the workshop, please send it to them. Either this episode or actually episode 105, the previous episode talks about it, or just share my email or my posts with them from Instagram. My business is almost purely word of mouth. This podcast being one of the biggest ways that people find me. So it really means a lot if you listen. One, it means a lot that you listen, or if you participate with me on Instagram or are on my email list. And also, if you really like what I have to offer and it resonates, sharing it, leaving a review, rating it on iTunes or on Apple Podcasts, and just telling your friends about it, like that makes a huge difference for me and my business. Because then people get into my realm and they can connect with me. And if it feels aligned for them, they might end up working with me through an inner voice session or working as a one-to-one client or just joining my workshop, right? So it's really valuable to me as a small business to have people share if it resonates and spread the word. So I'm so appreciative and grateful for you. I'm so excited for those of you who are going to be at the workshop. I cannot wait to host you and to do this collective clearing together so that we can really ignite that fire and step into 2022 in the way that is serving each of our highest and best aligned experience. So have a beautiful week, and I will catch you next time on the Tuning In podcast. Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Tuning In podcast. As always, if this would resonate with anyone you know, please share the episode. You can follow along with my journey on Instagram at Dana_Evans, or find me on my website at alignful.com.